Welcome to One-on-One, the Daily Items weekly digital program featuring Susquehanna Valley newsmakers interviewed by Daily Item reporters. Today's guest is the Senior Director of Communications for the Little League World Series, Brian McClintock, interviewed by reporter Eric Scicchitano.
Now is the time to get to Sunbury Motors Ford before the road work begins. SMC is on a mission to sell 50 vehicles in just 5 days before the road work starts. Save up to a whopping $16,200 on the area's largest selection of new 2018 Ford trucks.
Welcome to the Daily Items One-on-One. I'm Eric Scicchitano. Our guest today is Little League Director of Communications, Brian McClintock.
Hi, Eric.
Brian, thanks for having us. We are here on site at Lamade Stadium.
We're happy to have you here.
And it's pretty empty right now.
It is right now, but it won't be in about a week. We'll be packed.
So tell me, how many athletes do you expect this year, and how many visitors?
Sure, we have 16 teams that are competing, 8 from the United States and 8 from around the world, and all told, you could have as many as 14 kids on a roster. So we'll have about 200 athletes, and they'll be all hanging out in our International Grove. That's where the secure location where those teams hang out. And then the crowds, we have anywhere from our average game attendance is around 20,000. We've had as many 32 games, 10 days. We've had as many as 400,000 people come through our gates over the course of that tournament. So we hope with great weather and some great teams that we can have that many people here and welcome them all to South Williamsport.
What tips or advice do you have for visitors on game days when it's packed?
I would say get here early. Our gates and our lines, we do ask everybody to go through a security checkpoint. We want everybody to have a safe, secure, fun experience here. We don't want to be too intrusive, but we do want to make sure that everybody's safe and secure.
What can people bring, and what should they bring?
We have a full list on littleleague.org of all of the prohibited items and the permitted items. If you're going to sit out on the hill, you might want to bring a blanket. You might want to bring a chair. Stadium seating is free, first come, first serve. So if you want to sit inside the stadium, we just encourage you to get here early. The only time that doesn't work is championship weekend when the stadium is ticketed.
I would say suntan lotion and sunglasses.
Absolutely, just no aerosol cans. Bring the sunscreen in your original sort of tube and make sure it's the old school lotion and not the aerosol spray.
And parking free, admission free?
We have free parking down at the complex. All admission to the stadium is free. All games are free. We really try to make this an affordable, family-friendly atmosphere. The food and beverages are at Little League prices. It's not expensive. We don't want to charge Major League Baseball prices here. It's an experience for you to come out with your kids. You can bring your own food in. We have water fountains on site to really make it as affordable as possible.
Is there a can't-miss concession in your mind?
Oh, man. I think this year, one of the things that we're really excited for is we have a new partner in Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A will be here, and it's the only place to get Chick-fil-A in Lycoming County for those days here during the series.
But so not on Sunday.
Not on Sunday. They'll be closed on Championship Sunday and MLB Little League Classic Sunday, as we're referring to it now the past 2 years. But any other day, Chick-fil-A I think is going to be a hot spot.
You had mentioned how many teams you have. How many countries are represented?
Well, we have representatives from 8 different countries. So 9 if you count the United States. So every year, Canada, Japan, Mexico, and Australia send a representative. And then we have another representative coming from Europe and Africa, the Caribbean region, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. So we know that we have South Korea coming again to represent Asia Pacific. We have Puerto Rico coming to represent the Caribbean. We have Panama coming for Latin America. So we're excited. And Canada will be decided here on Saturday with the rest of our U.S. teams.
Can you give us an example of a logistical challenge that you face in having these people come from all across the globe?
Sure. Well, Little League International pays and arranges for all of their travel to and from Williamsport. So we really start working on that really well ahead in advance to make sure that we can get all the teams here and all the teams home, and they all travel together. Certainly, a lot of countries have visas that they need to go through that application process. We work through the State Department to try to clarify anything, get them their visas, and make sure that they can get here, compete, have a great time, enjoy this experience. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these kids to come and really feel like big leaguers here at the Little League World Series.
What about, I was thinking about cuisine. Sure. Are there any chefs who are preparing specific food, or the parents and the coaches doing the cooking?
We have a full cafeteria, so we provide all of the meals for the players as well and the teams. But it's very much like a high school cafeteria that you would find at any high school here locally in the area. So mainly what the cuisine they're getting is what kids would eat: chicken fingers, chicken nuggets, Taco Tuesday, pasta, those sorts of dishes. Certainly the kids can also, a lot of the times the Japanese team will bring food in. They'll have their parents bring some food in, drop it off. They'll go out to areas. We've had some great community support. We've had churches that have had a large Korean American population here in the area that have sort of brought in and supported our Korean teams. The Sons of Italy has always been supportive of our Italian teams when they come into town. So I'm not sure the Spanish community here in Williamsport, I'm not sure how much paella is in the area, but I'm sure that team, we haven't had a team from Spain for quite a while, so we're excited to add them
I'm
here.
a proud member of the Sons of Italy.
Awesome. Excellent.
Tell me, the language barrier itself. How have you seen these kids from different countries interact and kind of get over that barrier?
Well, at the very bottom line, the language of baseball is universal. So they can always communicate and connect over that. I would also say that technology has been the biggest help for Little League. There's a great photo from last year of two kids from two different countries using Google Translate to talk to each other. That technology has been huge in letting kids interact, talk to each other, be able to communicate. And then when they're in the Grove, they're swimming together, they're playing ping pong together, they're doing things that they might not have in-depth conversations, but they're having fun together, they're connecting. We also make sure that each team is, exposed to another culture by making sure that we have 4 sets of dorms with 4 teams for each one, and we alternate U.S. and international. So they all share the same floor, and we make sure that those teams get the opportunity to connect and have fun together.
And the Grove is pretty heavily guarded, right? I mean, that's not public access.
No, not at all. So we actually we'll be locking that down here tonight. We have our first team coming late tonight. Australia will be coming in. But no, everybody needs a card access to get in there. It's very restricted to get in. Parents can't get in there, which I think the teams like, the parents don't like. But it's really restricted just to the teams, their coaches, their managers, their team hosts, a very few select Little League staffers and security.
So what's life like inside there? Does it get a little rowdy?
I think it's 12-year-olds being 12-year-olds for the most part. We have a junior Olympic-sized pool in there. They like to swim. They like to have fun. We have a rec center that has video arcade games, ping pong. That's always very popular. You'll see kids hanging out, trading pins, playing wiffle ball, playing catch with a football or kicking a soccer ball around in there as well. So, no, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's our mini Olympic village. These kids are having fun together. They're hanging out together. And by the end of it, they're just, they've made lifelong friends as well. It's, it's kind of a short-term summer camp, if you will, for them as well, with kids from all over the world.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of One-on-One.
SMCS 21 2018 Ford Focuses, starting at $14,925. SMC is on a mission to sell 50 vehicles before the North 4th Street road work begins. Sunbury Motors Ford in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury.
Welcome back to One-on-One. We're with Brian McClintock of Little League International.
Hey, Eric.
Brian, the big change, I think, for Little League is the involvement of Major League Baseball now with the Little League Classic. Last year was the first year. Yep. This year, it's a little bit exciting for me that it's going to be the Phillies and the Mets. Can you tell me about that relationship and how the kids are involved?
Absolutely. The Little League's always enjoyed a great relationship with Major League Baseball, but really since Rob Manfred was named commissioner, he's the first Little League graduate to hold that office of commissioner of baseball and has been a great supporter of Little League, and we've been able to really grow together as partners and work together. And this MLB Little League Classic came up as a great idea from Major League Baseball. They brought it to us, and we said, whatever you need from us, we're in. We'll happily do it. And I think last year, we exceeded expectations. It was just such a fantastic day with the Major League Baseball players coming in, connecting with the kids being able to see. A lot of them will never see a Major League Baseball game again, let alone to be the honored guests at a stadium that holds 3,000 people.
And they all go, right?
They all go. That's really the tickets are hard to come by. They're not available to the public. Really, the only people that we know who are going to go every year are the teams. And then after that, the MLB teams get some tickets, but we figure it out from there. But, all of the kids get to go. They get to experience it. They get to spend the day. The Major League Baseball players this year, it'll be the Phillies and the Mets. They come over to our complex. They spend about an hour and a half here with us. They get to go in the Grove. They get to show these Major League Baseball players around. We serve as their tour guides here at the Little League International Complex, and then Major League Baseball serves as our host over at Bowman Field. And we're just really looking forward to a great year this year with the Mets and the Phillies. We have some Little League Baseball World Series alums coming back to Williamsport, a lot of them for the first time. Todd Frazier with the Mets, who won the Little League Baseball World Series in 1998. We're actually honoring the Toms River East American Little League, his Little League team. It's their 20th anniversary of that championship. So we're bringing back his teammates. We'll have a reunion here on the 19th as well. But we have Scott Kingery for the Phillies, who played here in 2006, and Michael Conforto with the Mets, who played here in 2004. So we're excited to welcome those guys back. That'll be some really special moments too.
Were there any moments last year with the Pirates and the Cardinals on campus that stick out in your mind that you witnessed that was pretty cool?
There's probably two, and I think one was really reported about a lot, and that was when the players bought snow cones, frozen ice for all of the MLB players. It was the MLB players. It was hot, it was in the sun, and they said, we're buying 200 slushies for every Little League player that's here. That was just such a really cool moment and really, genuine moment of just them hanging out and watching baseball together.
And they can afford it.
Yes, absolutely. The Little Leaguers, they would have had to go to mom and dad to ask for that extra cash. And then, the other moment is, and this just happened to happen, was Lance Lynn, who is now with the Yankees, but was with the Cardinals last year. Lance played in the Little League World Series here, and his actual local Little League team was in town that day. And we had about 15 to 20 kids from his Little League in Indiana that just happened to be here.
Cool.
They were all in their uniforms. They came out. They were able to see Lance, and Lance was just so excited to see his hometown kids there and be able to greet them. So that was a really special moment that not a lot of people saw, but it really meant a lot to those Brownsburg folks, and it really meant a lot to Lance too. It was just such a great moment.
So speaking of hometown teams and Pennsylvania teams,
Sure.
I would expect that Pennsylvania teams would be the biggest draw.
Yes.
And probably tri-state, so New York, New Jersey.
Yep.
Outside of those three states, what team seems to consistently draw the most people?
I would say outside of that, it really is pretty even, and it really just depends on what communities are here. We always have great supporters from Japan that come in, which is always kind of really welcoming to see that some of those international teams have a lot of followers. Australia always comes. Their parents come. They come and they really come out to support. But you're absolutely right. Those Mid-Atlantic teams, it's really close for them, that 3-hour drive. Typically, our Central Region teams, our Midwest teams, our Great Lakes teams, our Southeast teams, depending on where they're from. If it's a close, easy drive, that's usually when we see a lot of people come and support. But we always have great fan bases for all of our teams, and I think our local communities like to find that great story and that great team that they all kind of latch behind as well, and come out and support as well. Our local people who, if there's not a Keystone or not a Redland for them to come and root on, they like to find that other team that they can support.
For the people who can't make it up here this year,
Yeah.
is every game televised on ESPN?
Absolutely. All 32 games. There's 30 games that sort of decide the Little League Baseball World Series, and then we want to make sure that every team has at least 3 televised games. So we have 2 crossover friendly games as well. All 32 games will be on ESPN Family Networks or ABC this year, as we have been for many, many years. We actually added about 100 games to our ESPN broadcast. We were able to expand our coverage. We have Little League Softball World Series action going on right now. We have a team from Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, participating in that World Series in Portland, all of our regional action. So really for 6 weeks, we have about 230 games on the ESPN Family of Networks, and we'll finish up with the 32 right here.
Does the network or does Little League International, or both, take any extra measures to try to limit the exposure of some of these kids?
We're certainly cognizant of it. First and foremost, these kids are here to play and have this experience, and there's certainly a bright spotlight. But the kids, it's part of the experience as well, and the kids really love it. ESPN is a wonderful partner of ours. We've been able to work with them really closely over the years. We have certain rules and regulations in place that protect the kids. One thing that, as an example, that we do is, we don't allow ESPN to linger. If there's a kid who's really visibly upset on the field because of something negative that's happened, we make sure that ESPN knows that that's not good to showcase. Their kids happy because they're crying and they're happy and they're celebrating, tears of joy. Absolutely, that's great. But we really work with them, and we have a great relationship with them. We're on the headset with them. They ask us questions. We make sure that we're comfortable, and really Little League International, that's what we're here for. We're here for the kids. We're here to protect those kids and make sure that they have the experience that they want and deserve. But if there's ever any sort of issues, making sure that that's limited where it needs to be.
They ham it up pretty good for the camera too, right?
Absolutely. 12-year-olds are 12-year-olds. I think that every year, and I think you see the kids on the field and they act so mature and they play so mature and they play a level of baseball that I never played before, and I think a lot of the viewers have never played before from a talent standpoint. But when you're hanging out with them around, they're 12-year-old kids, and it doesn't matter whether they're from South Korea or South Dakota. Those kids are 12-year-olds, and they have fun together. They have fun handshakes. They joke. They laugh. They tease each other. They just have a really great time. And yeah, if the camera's on and during some of the great segments that ESPN produces, they certainly like to ham it up and show their personalities back home.
So one last question: that tradition of exchanging pins, exchanging hats, does that stuff still go on?
Absolutely. The hat exchanges really tend to happen really more at our crossover games, those friendly games. After the game, usually the teams will trade hats, get a cool picture together. Pin trading is something that is absolutely rabid. It's one of the biggest attractions here at the Little League World Series. We've been creating official Little League pins since the early 1980s, and we certainly have pins from all over the place. And the kids are trading them in the Grove, fans are trading them on the concourse, and it's just one of those great sort of feel-good experiences that ties all sports together. Pin trading started with the Olympics, and this really has an Olympic feel to us. I mean, we have the benefit of doing this every year, not every 4 years. But this event really has that Olympic feel to it. We're bringing together cultures. We're bringing together amateur athletes who are excelling on the field and excelling as citizens and representing their community. So that pin trading, I think, just kind of spills over really naturally to our Little League events.
Brian, thank you so much for hosting us, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you for watching One on One. We hope you will join us this coming Thursday at noon for a new installment.